Hi, friend, and welcome to Mom Babes, where
every mom is a babe.
And if you're like, Christina, I don't feel like a babe because I have the worst morning breath ever, then this channel is especially for you. I make videos for moms who are creatives, and if you're like, I'm not a creative, that's a lie, because raising a live human being is the most creative thing that there is. I would love it if you would subscribe to the channel, come hang out with me every Thursday, and if you ding the bell, you will get notified each time I release a new video. As you can tell, we are doing a very, very fun episode today. I'm so excited to have my mom, Rosette.
Hello.
And then her mother and my grandma, Roberta, on the show with me today. So we have 3 generations here, which is very exciting. And today we are talking about party hosting and party planning. So my inspiration for this episode kind of came from the idea that I love hosting parties. And I think part of that is because my mom threw a lot of parties.
I was a crazy party mom.
And
not maybe what you're thinking. We'll explain later.
And I think that came from my grandma being very much a party planner, hostess with the mostest.
Extraordinaire.
Yeah. We are in my grandmother's home at her dining table that I've spent 35 years having wonderful family gatherings, family events, so many parties. I'm really grateful, and I think that's a heritage that you've gifted to us. So thank you. Actually, it's Easter today, so Grandma hosted party today. I thought it came out really great.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
We always do a ham for Easter and then some kind of potato. And we have a lot of birthdays too in our family at this time of year, so we got to celebrate those, which was really fun. But I know that sometimes people feel like, that's nice that you can host a party, but hosting a party, and for us it was, only like 12 people, but even that feels overwhelming. Why you like hosting parties, why you're not intimidated by it.
I was not afraid to do these things because I had a mom who gave me a lot of practice over the years, just being with her, doing parties, all the things that she hosted and did over the years. She was a missionary, so she did a lot of hosting of different kinds of parties, and got to see how she handled all that.
I'm really not quite sure, except that I know as a little girl, my grandmother always had bridge parties and luncheons for the church people. Always the pastor was there, and we would set a very nice table, and there would be great food and conversation. And I used to think, boy, that is so fun. That's really neat. And she would let me in on setting the bridge tables and helping with the food. I was just 8 years old, but I felt like a really big girl doing all that, but I loved it.
And then, of course, she always threw birthday parties for us when we were kids growing up.
Do you remember one in specific?
She did this big thing in the backyard where she had all these games, different games set up, little stations. And I think my whole class had come, like 30 kids and their moms. You remember this? And they went from station, and it was like a penny toss, and there were just I don't remember, there was pin the tail on the donkey, and just a lot of little games.
You basically threw like a carnival in the backyard.
Pretty much it was like a little baby carnival.
And then I had a stepmother who was very, very good. She had a degree in home economics at that time. She had the best recipes, probably equal to some of the Martha Stewart and some of the other people that you probably know. She never had a big party. We had family gatherings, and the food was absolutely to die for. Always was wonderful. And so I have taken some of those recipes with me, and I think my family would agree that we have good holiday meals. We have good.
Yeah.
When we do like a holiday, it's not like a normal holiday. We have, the silver, the crystal, the china. Like every Easter, Christmas, Thanksgiving, like we do it. Yeah. So for our family culture, that's something that we do to make it special and to make it nice. And part of that is, Grandma's preparing a beautiful piece of meat. We, have this beautiful meal. And so when it's plated, and the tables always look beautiful, which makes it just feel more
special,
more sophisticated, more elevated when you have this setting. And I took a picture of the table today, so I'll put it on here so you guys can see kind of what
it looks like,
what
yeah.
our family culture is, and maybe something that you can put into your family, even if you're not going to do like, you know, like I'm not going to go buy a bunch of china and silver and whatever, but you know, maybe you can add, like we had little eggs in front of each thing, like, or you know, cloth napkins instead of disposable napkins, like some little touches you can do to kind of up level it a little. Put some flowers on the table when you're having people over, whether that's, you know, just a couple people or more people. Having a nice table, I think, really brings a very fun atmosphere to the whole event.
Very important part of entertaining is to know why you're entertaining. Get to know people better. It was a giving kind of thing. It was, for me, it was a ministry. And a ministry is reaching out to people and introducing Jesus Christ to their life. And so that was a way to do it. But everybody that ever came to my parties, I didn't even know a lot of them. Some people would bring people. I gained a lot of friendships through this. You need to have in your heart a love of people to really entertain in a good way, because people, if you don't like people, it's going to be kind of hard to be a good hostess. It just is.
To be warm. It's more important. Like, I think this was you, Mom, was throwing somebody a birthday party was a way of honoring them and their entrance into this world. And so that was a big thing when we were growing up. My mom gave us birthday parties every year. And it wasn't always like a huge thing. Sometimes it was a small thing. Sometimes we did some slumber parties, overnight things, you know, and I'd have my siblings around, and maybe I'd just have a couple friends. But, you know, we always celebrated the birthdays. And I think that's just so important, especially with your children and your family.
Mom, one of my birthdays, my mom always threw the best birthdays. There's a couple things that stick out. One was my 5th grade pirate party.
Yeah.
So first of all, the invitations were, we went to the store and we bought specific pirate invitations because I wanted this pirate party. And then my mom found these confettis. Do you remember these? They're like little gold confettis in circles, and they look like gold doubloons.
Gold coins,
and
yes.
so we put those in the invitation. So when you open the invitation, the confetti came out. I thought it was like the coolest invitation
like 10,
that there ever was.
10 years,
10 years old or whatever.
Yeah.
I remember that. And then the other thing we did that I remember was our murder mystery party.
Oh, boy.
But this was before they really had kits. And so we wrote out the whole script for the party. My dad came and played, he was a police officer, so he played like a detective and came to the front door and interrogated all my friends. And we had like the murderer come in advance to practice, and like certain people would get killed, and we just invented this whole thing, and it was so fun. And that's just a few of all the great memories I have. And so I highly recommend doing something for your kids. It doesn't have to be as extravagant as that, but that's something that you don't have to spend a lot of money on, that you can more creatively invest in.
That you forget about being perfect.
Yes.
And as Christina is saying, you know, anybody can do this. Anybody can do it. It takes a little bit of just do it. You know, the saying, just do it.
That's her catchphrase for everything, by the way. Just do it.
Just do it. Because you learn as you go. That's the very best way. If you don't do this perfectly, it's okay. People won't even know. They don't even care.
A lot of people are afraid of weddings because they think something might go wrong. And when something does go wrong, because something always goes wrong at a wedding, there's always going to be some detail. Well, in the same way, but at the end of the day, people appreciate. They don't notice. They don't care, you know.
And believe me, something's always going to go wrong at your party. You forgot this, you forgot that, like today.
What happened today?
Today. I was really happy and proud of everything. And I came to doing this cake, which is a very favorite chocolate cake. And it was for the birthdays. We had a whole bunch of them, like 10 birthdays we were celebrating.
We do mass birthdays.
And I was so happy with it. And I looked at the end, I had it all. And I looked to the pan. And I said, wow, that doesn't look right, because it was little. it wasn't like that. It was like that. The batter was. So I thought, what did I do? What did I do? And I go to the box, and it's a box for brownies, not for a birthday cake.
It ended up being a very delicious, dense, wonderful cake still.
So I went ahead with it. But I could have thrown that thing easily in the garbage and said, oh, no, I won't serve that to anybody. But it's those kind of things happen, and it's imperfection. But sometimes it turns out quite good anyway. And if it doesn't, oh, well, bring out the ice cream.
Ice cream fixes everything.
I remember having parties and thinking a lot of people were going to come and nobody came, or maybe a few people came. And that's the hardest thing to get past. So in your mind, you almost have to figure that this may be the case. Maybe people aren't going to be coming. Maybe there's not going to be a whole lot of, but do it anyway, because you learn. Little teeny groups of people are just as valuable.
Yeah.
You get to know people. You get to talk more.
I remember agonizing over Daxon's first birthday party, when to have it, like what time to start the party, which sounds very silly, I know, but like first time mom, my first kid's birthday party, and I was like, do I do it at 11 a.m. or do I do it at noon? And I just remember going back and forth and being like, what time do I have this party? Based on his nap schedule and what was working for my other friends. And at the end of the day, you just pick something. Like, you just pick a day, and you just pick a time, and whoever can come, and the rest of the people, they just weren't meant to be there, and that's okay.
You kind of have to release a little bit.
Sometimes you have to release a lot.
Schedules and things for kids.
I think one of the main things that we have hit on here is, I like to think when I'm throwing a party, nobody cares, which sounds mean, but really nobody cares about the small little details or this thing that you bought that you want to display in a certain way, and then you forget all about it. No one really cares, which, like I said, sounds mean, but really the heart of it is just do the thing. And if there is somebody that cares, they don't need to be there. This is what I want to do, and then people can take it or leave it. As neutral as that sounds, has actually been really helpful for me in my party planning when I throw parties.
I had a friend, too, who once told me that she was afraid. She was like, I don't know how you do this. Like, she was like, I feel so intimidated. Like, it would just be crazy and out of control. And I'm like, well, look, I'm not perfect at doing this. And a lot of things I throw together at the last minute. It's just that I'm not afraid to try. You have to get over your fear of, just start small, do something small, and then you can build on that. And your skills will build as well.
Everybody is going to appreciate your efforts. Good, or, you may think they're bad, but not everybody will agree with that, because it's our perceptions that keep us from doing this. Came from some negative input into your life at some point or other, and it isn't truth. The truth is that as long as you're doing it in love and reaching out to others, it's going to be received in that vein and good. It's going to be good. From a God's point of view, we were each created special.
Yes.
And it's honoring that special part of every human being. And it's a rite of passage. Pretty old now. But I haven't given up appreciating so much when my family comes around. And I feel very special to them on that day. And I think everybody feels special. Part of that, I think, comes from my parents. I never had a birthday party as a little girl.
Yeah.
I never had a birthday party. I did not miss it. I didn't even know what it was until because I didn't even have playmates and other people to go to. But when I got older and I began to go to parties, I began to think, hey, I did never have a birthday party. What's wrong? So it is important to a child.
Even if you feel intimidated about doing it on a large scale, just invite a few friends over. Do something that's like manageable
one
for
playmate,
you.
And they love that.
Start small, and then as you get practice doing these things, then you can expand it.
And I was looking at our Noah today. His birthday is today. It is Easter. And his mother went and got him a very special little cake with candles on it. And we had a bigger cake, but this was just special for
Specifically
him.
his day.
And he was just grinning so big, and you could tell he was so honored
I think
and
it was
so
his,
happy.
his favorite. And
Yeah.
so for him, he's like, Mom got my favorite.
Yeah.
Guys, I'm obsessed with my birthday. I love my birthday. And I'm 35. I still celebrate my birthday every year. I will throw parties for myself. Like we did a murder mystery party a couple years ago for my birthday.
Mm-hmm.
And
For her 30th, right?
no, that was like my 33rd.
33rd.
That was
Okay,
after
well, you know.
accident. Anyways,
Remember it.
the point of this is if you create this culture of celebrating you, celebrating your life, that was something I really look forward to because it was one day where I could pick what I wanted to do. And now that I'm a mom, it's a little different. We
Not
did.
yet, because your kids are really young.
They're very young, so it's harder. But I still will say this year we went down to Seaport Village in San Diego and we got to fly a kite and go on the carousel and be by the ocean and be outside, which is what I wanted to do. An outing maybe to do something special. It doesn't have to be hosted at your home, or you can meet some friends at a park if having it at your place seems overwhelming.
You did your younger sister's first birthday at a park.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
I
Katie's
didn't know
birthday was
that.
at a park. Yeah,
In
Cortez
Oceanside?
Park, right here.
Oh, okay.
I didn't even do it in my community. I did it up in my mom's area because at that time
You just
I was
moved.
still, my kids were really young. Kind of did it where I thought it would probably be, most successful.
Yeah.
As far as like getting people to come out for it.
One thing my son does is he allows his children every year on their birthday to choose what they want to eat, and he will cook it up and make it very, very special. And they get all excited, and it's amazing because I have one granddaughter, and what she wants every year is rack of lamb, which is quite an expensive
project,
thing if
yeah.
you go to a restaurant. But he will cook it up and make it special, and they all enjoy that.
He was good at preparing food for us and our family. I used to give my kids a choice of where they wanted to go.
Like out to eat, yeah.
Out to eat. We would take them out on their birthday because we maybe didn't go out a lot other times. But on their birthday, they got to go out once a year. So,
Yeah.
and then they also got to choose where we
Where we
went.
went,
So,
That's another way of doing it.
they fun for you guys to be
Oh,
able to
yeah.
choose where they were going to go. So
Totally fun.
there's
Yeah.
lots of different ways to celebrate.
And
you.
it's something that I want to encourage other people to do, even if you didn't grow up in a family where you had that or it was modeled for you. This is still accessible for you. It's still something that you can bring into your family that maybe you haven't thought about before, that you can really make events special. I'm the type of person, I get excited to get dressed up for an event. I start thinking about if there's gifts or presents or what I'm going to do, the decorations. For me, it's really, really fun. Part of that is my personality, but part of that is how I grew up. And so it's something that can be learned, is what I'm trying to say. It's something that can be developed, even if you feel like you're starting at square one. One year I wanted to go to Carl's Jr. for my birthday, not because I like Carl's Jr., but they had this massive playground there that was like
all
4
about
stories.
the playground.
And I was like, I don't care what we eat. I just want to go to this playground. What are good foods that are A, affordable, B, doable for large groups of people that make your job easier?
I would go to Costco, the regular iceberg lettuce in a big bag. I would pick up a bag of the frozen fruit. And so real easy, the morning of or the night before you could defrost the fruit. Pick up pans of lasagna, which are actually better at Walmart. Mexican food where we'd have beans and rice. So maybe
Taquitos.
The enchilada casserole. Casseroles are probably a great,
Yes.
any kind of casserole.
If
for
you're
a
doing
lot
it
of
goes a
people.
yourself.
long ways. The big gallon size of red punch, and then mix that up, and then you add to that sherbet with ice on it,
Ginger
and
ale.
it was always the
And
biggest.
ginger ale.
With
And
the
the,
ginger ale, 7-Up, whatever kind of clear soda pop you want to add to it to make the sherbet
Fizzy.
bubble fizzy, and then you had a very simple but fancy beverage to serve.
Yeah, it's funny
And
because everyone was always like, "Oh, this punch," and
Yes,
it was
yes.
so easy to put
It
together.
was so. Some people will ask about it. They'd walk in the door and they'd be like, "Did you make the punch?"
Family dinners, I think probably a reasonable thing is ham like we did today.
Pastas are usually pretty good.
Yeah.
They're very
Yeah,
reasonable.
totally.
You add the salad and you add the fruit and you add some breads on the side and you're done. I don't want to have to do all that preparation. That's the easy button to hit. Having something catered can
It's
get very expensive.
If it's kids, they love hot dogs. Watermelon, cake or cookies, potato chips.
Kind of have to figure out how much you want to spend.
Do not ever buy 16-ounce cans of soda. If it's a kid, especially, they'll take
Drink
2
a
swallows, and
quarter or a half.
it's a big waste.
Yeah.
Small can tea is good
Or like
for
lemonade.
a dog.
Now you have a lot more healthy options too, because let's face it, soda pop isn't really great,
Organic sparkly water.
yeah.
Strawberry water.
and it looks pretty, it looks fancy,
And no mom guilt.
Around after a party and finding cans
Yeah.
with that
Yeah.
much soda in it.
you might serve coffee for an evening party. Water's just a huge thing these days. People want their water. Family, you have a lot of kids, then you will really want to invest in some kind of a beverage container. And then every time you have an event,
Yep.
easy to pull it out.
And then one big platter. Even if you don't have a bunch, like at least have one big platter and then one beverage thing, and then everything else can kind of fit in. Or you can collect things as you move along.
We did a party once where a different portion of the meal, it was a traveling party. Have you ever done one of those?
Yeah.
Where we went for one house for the entree, and then another one to the salad, and another one for the side dishes, and then another one for dessert. That was kind of actually fun because everybody had something already pre-prepared in their home, and you just traveled around.
People will do that with like restaurants too, where you'll go to different.
But I always had food in the refrigerator in case somebody forgot, so they didn't feel terribly bad about it.
Oh, that's so nice. I've never done that. I should do that.
I have an entree.
Backup. It's called your backup plan.
I mean, I have stuff in the freezer, but it's better to
yes, I always
and
have something
for
in
your
the wings,
backups.
just in case. Whether it's an appetizer or an entree or a salad material. Potlucks are also a very good way to entertain.
Yeah.
It's casual, and everybody just contributes.
Well, and then that's less work for you too. Like if you're overwhelmed to cook for people, that would be a better way to start, because then instead of making all these dishes, you're just doing one.
Right.
And that's a little more manageable.
And there's nothing wrong with doing that, because for my parents' 25th wedding anniversary, I was doing it, and I was like in my early 20s as a 21-year-old, trying to throw a big 25th wedding anniversary for my parents. Well, I didn't know how to cook and prepare food at that time. So I did make it a potluck and had contacted all of my mom's friends and said, look, I really want to honor my parents this way. Are you willing to bring something? And they were all thrilled to be able to just even contribute to a meal for my parents. So that made it really easy, even as a young person, just to reach out and say, hey, this is what I'm doing. Are you willing to help out? And most people will gladly help.
I feel like when that happens, people are excited because they want to share their fun recipes. They want to bring something good to the party.
Yes.
So it's more like they get to participate too.
Games can be really very simple. You don't have to spend money on fancy games. As simple as having a bowl and some cotton balls, and a silver spoon from your kitchen, and you can play the blindfolded cotton ball game where the kids have to scoop up the cotton balls to do the M&Ms in like a pie tin, and we put whipped cream all over it.
Yes.
And I don't know if this would be something people would do today. Would each take turns diving their face into this pie tin full of whipped cream, trying to get as many M&Ms out as they can. I think about it now, it's like, this stuff's kind of gross. But don't be afraid to go to discount stores, places like Dollar Tree or Big Lots or some of the other places that you might know of. I picked up a lot of party things.
Don't throw them away.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to throw these things away, but you can keep them forever and bring them out in 10 years.
Well, as long as they're not ruined.
Or if you had a
system
bin of
in
things
my
that
house,
we would reuse.
and I just did like for kid birthdays, all my leftovers, napkins and usable plates and things, I would put them in a little bin. I had like a designated closet and just organized it. Like these were, baby birthday things, children's birthdays, other kinds of events. So if my budget got really tight and I didn't have the money to maybe do as much one year, I could go into that box and pull things out. And sometimes I did that. Just
a happy
be creative
birthday banner will go for years. The menus, I kept the little hats. I made little hats. I did a lot of specific things. But I kind of kept them, and I'd bring them out. I wasn't embarrassed to bring them back out again. It just kept working for me. And a whole lot of money every time you do this. You can do it on a minimal budget.
I did Sweet 16s for each of my daughters. And when it came to my boys, we did something a little bit different. My oldest son had earned his way to an eagle, and so he got his big party for his eagle accomplishment. I did do sweet 16s for all my girls,
which was like a wedding without a groom, and I wore grandma's like wedding dress. We did a photo shoot. It was like a whole girly thing. It was really
we just
fun.
had fun with it. It's just about having fun. Just make whatever it is you choose to do.
Make it fun.
You know, and different people have different customs and things. So. Revolve around what your traditions are and what's fun for you and your family to accomplish.
Any kind of special accomplishment, it's good to make a celebration about it.
Even like I remember for school awards or something, we would like go out to eat or do some kind of like, hey, we're taking a moment to stop and like celebrate you or what you did or the school award you got. Even though in the grand scheme of life it's not that big of a deal, but when you're in school, for you it is a big deal. Having your family recognize it, I think, builds a lot of confidence and support. And I'm grateful that you always did that.
Showing up for your kids for their special days.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of really creative ideas out there for entertaining.
And Pinterest too.
Do your research. You have a lot of access because of the internet. A lot more ideas out there.
Do not fear.
Do not be afraid.
You got this.
Just go for it.
Now I'm going to have you pray for our audience.
Without warning, right? Just do it.
Yes.
Go, Grandma.
Father, we pray for this time we've had together, and that some of the things that we've experienced can apply to our audience. And you don't have to do them all. Pick those that Father, help people to be creative and to pick them to match their family and what they're wanting to accomplish. Lord, we ask for creativity, Father, in this area, and for true love of others, and a willingness to put forth effort, because it is effort, to put forth effort in behalf of that loving thing that we can do for each other. And just thank you, Jesus, for all that you have given us, all the giftings that you have given us in all areas, and help us to be able to use these giftings to reach out to other people, to bless other people. In Jesus' name.
Amen. Thank you guys so much for joining us today. Hopefully you learned a few things. Hopefully you're encouraged to go out and bless the people that you're connected with in your community, and not be afraid to throw a party and just try it. If no one has told you yet today, you are doing a good job. Thank you guys so much, and I'll see you next time on Mom Babes. Bye.
Bye.
I think that's good. Thanks, guys. That was great.
What do you have to edit out?
There's pauses, or if we say
Did I say too much?
No. Good talk.
What's next?
I'm trying to think.
Even as a youngster, she was choosing her themes every year. She already knew when she got to a certain age, this is the kind of party I want. You know?
I would take ownership.
It's so iconic in our family now. Like,
Well, the egg hunt.
you don't have to be a kid to participate in the egg hunt.
Yeah, well, the basket hunt and the egg hunt.
Yeah, they're two separate
And the
things,
baskets
but
would get hid really, like, as we got older, it
Harder.
was actually very hard to find them. Like, impressively hard to find these baskets. But yeah, the egg hunt, I remember as a kid, you guys were probably all in your mid-30s, 40s, whatever, doing the egg hunt with us, so I never won because you guys were way too into it.
My brother.
You'd have to like dig in the dirt and under leaves. Like, it was a committed event for sure. Very competitive.
And children actually learn a lot from this egg hunt. They learn not to give up. They learn to look under the leaves.
You have to make it age appropriate. You
Yeah.
know, if you have little kids, you make it
Yeah,
easier.
you don't bury it in the
You don't
ground
bury
with your
them in the dirt
3-year-old.
with a 1-year-old or a 2-year-old. We also will give them a time
Yes.
staggered entrance. So for little ones, get a few extra minutes, and then the next age comes out, and then
Because there are some that are just sitting out on the
Yeah,
grass.
they
So the
just-
idea is the little kids get the obvious ones first, and then after they've had time to collect the easy ones, then the bigger kids can go.
and trust me, moms and grandpas and dads will want to have that moment to get those really great pictures before everyone just.
Thanks, guys.
We're doing this very impromptu.